You might think that this game is a conventional horror game that actually looks like it's above average in quality compared to most horror games. Well, this kind of horror game gives you guns to kill the monsters with. When you add guns in horror games, in Roblox at least, it makes them not scary because you know you could kill the threats. In this game, the weapons don't remove the horror of it. Sure, at the beginning, you do get chased by a red humanoid without a weapon, but even as you get your first weapon, you still feel very anxious. Throughout the game, you have to go through stages by finding keys. Even with guns, you feel that anxiety as you walk through dark rooms, not knowing if there will be monsters at the next. They can also spawn behind you, which keeps you on edge. This is the first horror shooter game in Roblox where I actually feel scared, so salute to that. The gameplay forces you to fill your 4 slots with 4 tools that each have their own need, so you're not using 2 rifles or 2 painkillers. Your inventory consists of 1 firearm, 1 axe to get through the planks, 1 flashlight, which is required because many of the areas are dark, and the 4th slot holds your keys or painkillers. I also like that the game forces you to be careful while traversing the rooms, as if you're not careful, you'd be torn to pieces for the red people to eat, or become a tree for the black X-Men to chop, or die from the sheer kinetic energy of the green mucus shot from the green people. The game forces you into close quarter situations most of the time, so keep your eyes peeled. And keep listening. You'd hear footsteps before a monster walks up to you or behind you. I used to complain that the Axeman's swings wind up was too fast, but in those moments where I died to that was because I wasn't careful. It's actually fine punishment for rushing or trying to speedrun the game. One little bonus thing before I go over the cons of this game is the guns. It's neat to have that slight realistic feature of having to rack the gun after loading and that it has recoil. One little bonus thing before I go over the cons of this game is the guns. It's neat to have that slight realistic feature of having to rack the guns after loading, and that it has recoil. That being said, there are issues with the game that I would like to go over. First that comes to my mind is the boss. So how the story goes, there's a science laboratory in the sewers near the apartment where monsters are created. Then the lab breached, releasing monsters into the civilian area, and one of them killed our neighbor in his bath. We slowly make our way deeper into the lab until we end up in a giant steel room with this monster. It's kept in this vat glass tube container thing. It wakes up, breaks out, and fights us. How do you kill him? I'm sure you're familiar with this type of boss. Just shoot certain areas of the boss, which makes it stunned, do damage to it, repeat until it dies. This is pretty generic, but what's even worse is that it's too easy. The only movements that you need to do are walking backwards in a circle, and that's about it. It's pretty underwhelming compared to the previous enemies. It goes without saying that bosses should also be noticeably harder than regular enemies and not just take longer to kill. Secondly, we have the shotgun. This thing fires slower and only does slightly more damage than the rifle, and the game gives you little ammunition compared to how many mags you get. Since you fire slower, it does a worse job of killing hordes of red people quickly. You still need 2 taps to the head of an axeman to kill it, and you barely get any shells compared to how many mags you get. It doesn't even penetrate through one red guy. My suggestion is make the damage more significant and add penetration to it. Make these two hit harder than they are to make the available ammunition count reasonable. Thirdly, I kind of disliked the ending. After killing the boss, you thought that there was going to be a second stage, but no, it turns out it was all a dream. You then hear a knock on your door and you get jump scared. I know the game's name is Nightmare, but I'm a bit tired of the turns out it's just a dream, like scary stuff trope. If that's even a trope, it'd be refreshing to have the whole nightmare being an actual dream, and the character returns back to the real world with no weird things. Although that is just my opinion. And that's about it, my several cents on this game. I'll be giving this one a 7 out of 10. You can agree or disagree, I'd love to hear your thoughts, really. Thanks for watching.